Complete the two do now problems. So for number 1, I'm looking for the value of x. I need to look and see the relationship between angle x and the other angles that I'm given. I see that the angle 90 is vertical angles with the top angle in the triangle, which means that is also 90. Vertical angles are equal. When I look at the other opposite angle, I see that it is supplementary with this angle of 139 degrees. So that means both of those two angles add up to be 180. So that means 180 degrees subtract the 139 that I already have will give me my missing angle of 41 degrees. So if I have both of these opposite angles now, I can add them up. And I get 131 degrees for x. We are not going to go over number 2. That is what we are going to work on today. So by the end, when you see this for the exit ticket, you should be able to 100% be able to solve. First, we're going to review and go over some multi-step equations that include distributive property, fractions, positives, and negatives. So make sure you are going over this and doing this on your paper as well. So when I see this equation, I see that I have multiple steps. The first thing I need to do is always get rid of the parentheses if I have that, which means with this one, I'm going to have to distribute. So when I see this 3 outside the parentheses, I need to realize that it's really a negative 3. So I need to distribute the negative 3 to the x and the negative 3 to the positive 4. So I'm going to bring down the 8x since I'm not using that right now. I'm going to distribute negative 3 to x is negative 3x, and then negative 3 times positive 4 is a negative 12. I'm going to bring down my plus 10, and that all equals 28. Okay, from here I just need to combine my like terms. So I have a positive 8x and a negative 3x. So I'm going to get a positive 5x, a negative 12, and a positive 10. It gives me a negative 2. Different signs, so we subtract. Again, that all equals 28. I need to just add 2 to both sides. I get 5x equals 30. Divide both sides by 5, and I get x equals 6. So solving is no different, except we have more steps in the beginning. Okay, so this one looks a little more challenging, but that's really only because it has a fraction. It's actually probably even a little easier than the last one. So again, I got to get rid of the parentheses first by distributing this 1/3 to the positive 12x and the 1/3 to the 21. So 1/3 of 12, 1/3 times 12 is 4. So I get 4x. Just to show by hand, 1/3 times 12, or 12 over 1. Multiply straight across, and we get 12 times 1 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. 1/3 plus, or 1/3 times 21, or 21 divided by 3 is 7. Bring down everything else, so the minus 6, and then equals 27. I still have like terms that I can combine. My positive 4x and a negative 6x gives me a negative 2x.
bring down my plus 7, and that's still going to all equal 21. I'm going to minus 7 on both sides. I get negative 2. X equals 14. Divide both sides by 2, or negative 2, and I get X equals negative 7. All right, and so the last slightly different one, or more challenging one, looks like this, where we have x plus 6 all in the numerator and the whole denominator of 3 equals 12. So in this case, I can't do anything with the x plus 6 until I get this 3 out of the denominator. So we can think of this as division. So this is saying that x plus 6 is all divided by 3. So that means if we use the inverse operations, if I have division, that means I need to multiply both sides by 3. It's the same thing as 3 over 1. So I'm going to multiply this side by 3 as well. Since we do the opposite, these 3's are going to cancel out. It's not saying 3 times 3. One is in the numerator and one's in the denominator, so they cancel out. And I'm left with just my x plus 6 equals 12 times 3 is 36. From here, it's just a now one-step equation. I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides, and I'm left with x equals 30. So anytime you have a variable and constants all in the numerator, we have to get rid of the denominator first by multiplying, since that's the inverse. When we multiply on that left side, it gets just rid of the 3 and you're just left with the numerator, but then you have to multiply everything on the right side by 3, so it was just 12 times 3 this time. All right, go ahead right now and try these two on your own. Okay, so for this first one, I need to get rid of that 5 in the denominator, so I'm going to do the inverse, and I'm going to need to multiply both sides by 5, which is 5, same as 5 over 1. By doing the inverse, these 5's cancel out, and I'm left with my 2x plus 9 equals 9 times 5 is 45. Two-step equation now. I need to subtract 9 on both sides, and I'm left with my 2x equals 45, or 45 minus 9 is 36. I'm going to divide both sides by 2, and you should have gotten x equals 18. Make any corrections if you did not get that correct. Alright, so checking number 2. Number 2, we first need to get rid of that parentheses and distribute the 1/2. So we need to do 1/2 times 10x and 1/2 times 8, and everything's positive. I'm not doing anything with this 11 right now, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that down so I don't forget it. So 1/2 times 10, half of 10 is 5x. Half of 8, or 1/2 times 4, or 1/2 times 8 is 4. Bring down my minus x, and that all equals 47. Combine my like terms, which are a positive 5x and a negative 1x, a positive 11, and a positive 4. So 5x minus 1x is 4x. 11 plus 4 is 15. And it still all equals 47. Subtract 15 on both sides. bring down our 4x. And that is going to equal 32. Divide both sides by 4. And you should have gotten x equals 8.